Lighthouse of Alexandria. The most famous and beautiful building of the ancient Alexandria was a great lighthouse. This lighthouse was so impressive that it was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. King Ptolemy I chose one of the best architects of the day, Sostratos of Cnidus, to build the Pharos. It took about 12 years to build and was completed under the reign of Ptolemy II. Its bright light guided ships safely through the rocky waters into the great harbour of Alexandria. Nothing remains standing of Alexandria's lighthouse today. However, we know what it looked like because the Pharos appears on ancient coins, mosaics and descriptions of the travellers. A small replica, or copy, of the lighthouse is still standing today near the ancient city of Taposiris Magna to the west of Alexandria. The lighthouse had 3 levels. The lower level was square. The middle section was octagonal in shape. The third section was a round tower with a dome-shaped roof. At the top was a statue, probably of Poseidon, the Greek god of the sea. The whole lighthouse about 120 meters high, which was very tall for that time. The lighthouse had spiral staircase inside leading up to the top. Isopharia. The Pharos of Alexandria had its own protective goddess, Isopharia, who was an form of the ancient Egyptian goddess, Isis. She was believed to protect ships and sailors. The worship of Isopharia soon spread to elsewhere in the ancient world, and images of her can be found on sculptures, paintings, and coins. For example, it's believed the Statue of Liberty in the city of New York was inspired by the images of Isopharia. Optics and mirrors. We do not know exactly how the Pharos light worked. Some people believe that at night the light was created by a great fire, whilst, during the daytime, mirrors were used to reflect the sun's rays. Mirrors were sometimes used to create strong light. Moreover, the Greek scientist Archimedes, who spent several years in Alexandria, also developed a way of reflecting the sun's rays to set fire to enemy ships. The destruction of the Pharos. The main threat to the Great Lighthouse was from the frequent earthquakes which shook the Mediterranean region. 22 earthquakes were recorded, plus tsunami 365 AD. Finally, in 14th century, the violent earthquake brought down the standing remains of the lighthouse into the sea in the Bay of Alexandria. Today, archaeologists exploring under water in the Bay of Alexandria have discovered huge blocks of stones, which it is believed to belong to the lighthouse. Catesby Fort. In 15th century, over 170 years after the Pharos destruction, the Sultan Catesby used the foundation stones remaining from the lighthouse to build a huge fort in the place where the lighthouse had once stood. Today, Catesby Fort as a reminder of the great lighthouse which stood there long ago. The legacy of Pharos. Although lighthouses already existed in ancient times, the Pharos was so unique and inspired many other buildings to be built in a similar style. Even after a long time it had disappeared, other lighthouses were built on its model, as well as different kinds of buildings such as towers and minarets. Moreover, Pharos became the origin of the word for lighthouse in several European languages such as the French word phare. For example, the Tour Magna, or Great Tower, is a Roman tower which was built in the French town of Nimes during the reign of the Emperor Augustus. The Tower of Hercules. This ancient Roman lighthouse was built in Spain during the 2nd century CE. This tower is the oldest Roman lighthouse still in use today. The Library and Marcion. Ptolemy I invited the Greek poet and philosopher Demetrius of Phalerum to Alexandria. He became the king's personal advisor and suggested to the king to create a great center of learning. To achieve this, a unique library was built in the royal quarter. The library had all the important books of the day, the works of playwrights, poets, mathematicians, scientists, and philosophers were bought, or sometimes borrowed from other libraries and never returned. Marcion was also built in Alexandria's royal quarter. The priest of the Marcion was appointed by the king himself. This temple became a famous center of learning attracting people from near and far. Many scientists, mathematicians, astronomers and poets came to work and study in the Mausoleum and the Library of Alexandria. The Mausoleum, which gave us the modern word museum. The library catalogue. Nowadays, people quickly search for books in a modern library using computers. But how was this done in the ancient library of Alexandria? One person who played an important role here was Callimachus, the court poet to King Ptolemy II. Callimachus catalogued the library's collection of scrolls. He created a series of 120 books listing these works in chronological order. Librarians tidying scrolls on the shelves. In the ancient library of Alexandria. The fate of the library and Mausoleum. Today, nothing remains of the great library, or the Mausoleum. Different accounts told us about their destruction. The library wasn't destroyed in a single day or single person. It was lost over centuries through a mix of fires, wars, natural disasters, and long time of neglect. Most of the library was burnt during war between Julius Caesar and Ptolemy in 48 BCE, the attack of Emperor Aurelian. During the battle to retake Alexandria from Queen Zenobia, the royal quarter including library was heavily damaged. The daughter library. Many temples at that time had their own library. After the great library of Alexandria was partly destroyed, the library of the Serapeum became more important. It attracted many scholars, and was considered the daughter of the great library. The decree of Theodosius I, 391 AD, after the Roman Emperor Theodosius I, made Christianity the official religion of the Roman Empire and ordered to close all the pagan temples. The Patriarch of Alexandria, Theophilus, ordered the destruction of the Serapeum, including its library. The rebirth of the ancient library. Over the centuries, Alexandria's ancient library became legendary. As the legend never died, Egypt's government decided to create a new modern library of Alexandria. So, in 2002, a new library named the Bibliotheca Alexandrina was opened. Like its ancient ancestor, attracts scientists and scholars from all over the world.